One thing that I think it's a little cliche, but I truly believe in it, is building your personal brand as early as you can. Making sure that you are investing your time and your energy and your image into things that are going to serve you in the future. Don't be afraid to send a connection request to somebody who works at a place that you're really interested in. Don't be afraid to follow them and just get really immersed into what you believe that you're passionate about.
Welcome to Security Cleared Jobs, Who's Hiring and How, the podcast for cleared professionals looking for new opportunities and career advice. We go behind the scenes with recruiters and hiring managers from leading cleared employers to uncover the information you need to make a smart career move. Get ready for insights from this week's guest and your hosts, Kathleen Smith and Rachel Bozeman.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Security Cleared Jobs, Who's Hiring and How. This is Kathleen with ClearedJobs.Net, and always by my side, being the sunshine to my cloudy day, is Rachel Bozeman. Rachel, how are you today?
You are so glad I did not just bust out in song with an introduction like that. But yes, I am Rachel, and I am excited to be here with all of y'all for another great show. So Kathleen, tell us who's on deck today.
So today's guest is Allison Forcelli, HR Generalist for Plus3 IT Systems. Welcome to the show, Allison, and thank you for letting me roll my tongue.
Thank y'all. Kathleen, thank you for inviting me on today. I'm really excited to have this opportunity to talk about the wonderful company I'm with.
Wonderful. Rachel, kick us off.
Well, wonderful. Well, Allison, we like to start out at the very beginning of your career and just kind of understand that, because I think as people are searching for careers, a lot of times they think, oh, I don't have it all figured out, or, oh, I thought I was going to go this path or this path. But I think the interesting thing about careers is they start in one place and usually end somewhere else. So tell us a little about how your career started and how you ended up at Plus3 IT Systems.
Absolutely. So I like to say that I didn't choose the HR life, it chose me. I started out originally from the Low Country, so fine dining, hospitality experience, and tried my hand at attending University of Georgia. Wasn't in the cards for me, returned home, decided that maybe I wanted to be a dental hygienist, but I decided to get some actual industry experience before making that leap again. And I became, sort of in an administrator role. And then at that point, my husband, he did leave the service and moved up here, and naturally ended up in another dental office and taking on a heavily administrative role. Ended up being kind of like the go-to HR person. And then during COVID and after COVID, the environment was kind of something that personalities like all of us maybe don't thrive in the healthcare space. I really give a lot of kudos to people who do work in healthcare. That's incredibly difficult, and still trying to provide compassionate care during such a volatile time, which is very understandable given the circumstances. But at that point, I did decide to make a leap, and I kind of told myself, I'm like, you know what? I think I want to work for a tech company. I think I really like that vibe. I love innovation, a little bit of a out-of-the-box thinker. So I researched and I found Plus3, which was literally right down the street from me at that time. Super interested after reading about the role, the company. Felt like I could really be a good fit and had a wonderful recruiting experience. She's my right-hand lady, Sarah. She was my recruiter, and now we've become the best of friends and best of colleagues, and the rest is history. So I'm really enjoying that so far.
It is amazing how our journeys, we think we want to do something and then we check into it and it was like, wow, that's really not playing to my strengths. That's not really
Right.
making me feel successful, but you definitely get your eyes open to what other people are experiencing, but also the skills that you have that you want to apply someplace else. So great that you found Plus3 IT Systems. Can you tell us what they do in the cleared community?
Yeah, absolutely. So P3, essentially, we solve tough problems. We solve complex issues within the NatSec industry. So we're the folks who are creating solutions and implementing them, not just consulting. We're doing the work. We have some incredibly talented people on the team, and they've been in the space for a very long time, have a lot of longstanding relationships.
So, talking about some different opportunities that you have there at
Mhm.
Plus3, can you tell us what type of cleared positions you're currently hiring for?
We are purely cloud. Because we are cloud purists, we do have cloud engineers, DevSecOps engineers, cloud security, generally cloud professionals who have a zest for solving complex solutions and want to do something good for their country. So everything cloud we are hiring for.
Well, I know that the jobs are not located up in the clouds.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they are. Maybe I shouldn't assume they're not
Right.
located in the clouds. But where are the positions located?
Our locations are spread out within the continental US. However, our home base is Reston. So we are hiring mostly within the DMV, but I would say sometimes it gets sprinkled about, especially in the government contracting space. That can always change. So continental US, but home base being in Reston.
Awesome. So another thing that a little birdie told me, most of your positions require a polygraph, correct?
For the most part, yes. So that can depend on customer requirements. That is a common one. Another really common one is certifications. So certifications often are something that are maybe required by contract, and we're always seeking out people that fit within those guidelines. And those will always be within the job descriptions as well, what certifications may be required. And also, too, we do have a really generous professional development program, and if we do need them to pursue those certifications, we'll usually give them a little bit of encouragement and some time and space to be able to achieve those within a few months of their start date.
Wonderful. So let's talk a little bit more about that because that's one of my big bugaboos.
Hmm.
And that reminds me, Rachel, we'll have to hike the bugaboos one of these days, so we can talk about that offline. But what's interesting is that a lot of the government positions in the IT space in the cloud do require certifications. And yet, not many employers give, as you said, the time and space to be able to study for the certification, take the certification exam. Most of those certification exams happen at conferences. You need to attend the conference, you need to pay the conference fee, you need to pay the hotel, you need to pay the airfare, and you need to have the time off from work. It's a big thing.
That's such a great point. A lot of working professionals don't have that time to do all of those things. So we totally understand that. And with our professional development program, we reimburse them up to a certain amount a year. And we are able to essentially give them the support they need to actually fly out or travel if they have to, or pay the subscription costs and things like that. So we provide them with as much ease as possible for them to be able to have the time, space, support, and also appreciation too, because when they are achieving those certifications, they're also getting a shout out or a kudos, and the whole team is excited for them, and there's a lot of encouragement there.
Awesome. And we sort of glazed over it. So I want to bring back, even though you're working in the polygraph field,
Mhm.
do you have any hybrid or remote positions? I mean, I know that's really difficult when you're talking about that clearance level, but what we've been talking about with several of our guests is flexibility. It's one
Right.
thing that has been the silver lining from the pandemic is that we've understood the importance of flexibility. So, flexible work schedules, how do you guys handle that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that is kind of a case by case basis. So it can depend on the client, the contract. So on site requirements definitely can, vary. For the most part, there are some on site requirements. As a corporate team member, sometimes I do enjoy that flexibility, but we do try to be transparent. So, we hear a lot in the space that somebody's promised a, flexible hybrid remote position, and then they get in there, and then there's a lot of tough feelings about that. And we don't believe in that at all. So in our job descriptions, if you are checking that out, there will be some verbiage there as far as what the on site requirements are, if there are any. And so those descriptions are always accurate. We believe in truth and transparency. So that's really important.
Love it. I think candidates truly appreciate that as well. So make sure you
Yes.
read the job descriptions as well. Don't read just the first line and say, I got this. Read the whole thing, everything you need. But maybe something that's not listed in the job descriptions, because let's face it, they can't be that long, Allison. It would just, nobody would have time to read
Right.
them, is a little bit more insight into the culture. What is the company like? So if you don't mind telling us, what is the culture like there at Plus3 IT, and what type of folks just thrive in that environment?
Yeah, that's a great question. This is my favorite question because this is my cup of tea here. I would say that Plus 3 IT is a culture of collaboration and innovation. It's a really positive culture. I think that a lot of folks do appreciate if they're wanting to make that switch where they're maybe leaving a more competitive environment, but entering an environment where there's collaboration and, everybody is uplifting each other constantly, sharing knowledge, ensuring everybody is succeeding at the same time and working as a team, but also a culture of really intelligent, best of breed talent. We really have some people, like I said, who have been in the game for a very long time. And they've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So they're super knowledgeable. So I would say we have a lot of smart people, a lot of innovative people, but also we know how to have fun. We know how to celebrate each other and find time to spend time together, do events, things like that. So it's definitely a positive culture. And that speaks true. We have won Washington Post top workplaces a couple of times, and we are awaiting. As of June, we'll figure out if we won that again. So hoping on that.
Fingers crossed for you. So you're recruiting in a very tough field. You're recruiting in the polygraph talent pool. How does your company compete?
We're small but mighty. I think having that incredibly talented talent pool serves us really well. This industry, it can seem large, but it really is a small community. And since we do have people that have a lot of longstanding relationships, have been doing this for a while now, they make good impressions on the people that they come across over the years. And if somebody's wanting to make a jump, they have that impression in the back of their mind. And once they're ready to make a jump, they think about us and the people that they've made relationships with over the years within our company. I think they're like, I'm glad that you're making a jump finally. And, if you'd like to check us out, we're here. But I think it's just building a rapport with people and being authentic and being the trusted source of services really speaks true. And people really do appreciate that. And they're not maybe looking for a huge brand name. They're looking for something where they feel like they can be a part of something important and something cohesive and where they feel satisfied at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So we've talked about polygraph a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And this one I found really interesting as you were kind of sharing some of the insights into hiring in that space. But sometimes you've run across some friends that with polygraphs that may have been a little less than forthcoming or maybe have misrepresented the companies that they've worked for. Tell us a little bit more about that and how people can make sure they're not one of those people.
Absolutely. During the application process, your resume, make sure it is accurate as possible. Now, whether you intentionally did it or maybe it was just an accident, make sure that if you do list a company that you worked for, that was the actual company, because even within the contracting space, that can get complex, right? They might put what the prime was or something like that, and it actually wasn't the employer that they are going to be showing up on record for. So that is the time to make sure that is so crystal clear, true, and concise, because recruiters, they will unfortunately dismiss something if any sort of discrepancy or any questions are raised at that point. That's not a good time to, leave a little bit of doubt. They're going to want to feel confident about who they're giving to the company at that point.
So definitely list who held your clearance, not who was the prime on the contract.
Correct.
So I understand that you have something very unique there that many people don't have at their companies is an internship program. Tell us a little bit more about your internship program.
So P3 has been doing an internship program for 6 years out of the 10 years that we've been around. Only thing that disrupted that was the pandemic. So with our employees, we do have a lot of employees that have been there since the beginning and have decades of experience, and they're super excited to share that knowledge and kind of empower the next generation. So we always have a slew of mentors that want to volunteer and help with that. And with that, we do have some relationships with local colleges and universities where we do encourage them to come out, and we'll have a booth and have people from the company representing us and talking to them. And if they are selected as an intern, it is usually a paid internship, and they're actually working on projects. They are assigned challenges and projects. And most importantly, too, they're getting a feel of working within the industry, and they're getting a feel of professionalism, what's going to be expected of you if you do enter that space. And they get really valuable insight. And it's always fun to see how appreciative they are, and it does make an impact. And, whether they decide to come to P3 later or if they're able to come to P3 later, at least they're able to take that on and be the next generation of, NatSec cloud services or an engineer in general.
Awesome. Well, I'm just going to shoot my shot here, Allison, and ask because I think it's always great to have another recruiting friend in the
Mhm.
mix here. And there's so many people who are out on this career search. So, do you mind sharing maybe some tips or tricks that you have in their career search that could set them up for great success in landing that incredible career?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I think it's a little cliche, but I truly believe in it is building your personal brand as early as you can. Making sure that you are investing your time and your energy and your image into things that are going to serve you in the future. Be on LinkedIn. Make sure that you're out there and maybe don't disclose everything. You don't have to do that, but don't be afraid to send a connection request to somebody who works at a place that you're really interested in. Don't be afraid to follow them and just get really immersed into what you believe that you're passionate about and make those connections. And don't be afraid. This is the time to, like you said, shoot your shot. Get out there, make connections, because you never know who's going to be in your corner later on if you decided to take that leap to put yourself out there and form those bonds with people.
Yes, if I didn't connect with you on LinkedIn, you wouldn't be here as a guest on the show because you
Absolutely.
were so kind to respond to my request like, "Hey, can you come be on our show?" But yes,
Yeah.
I mean, it's really interesting, especially now when we're looking at people posting a lot on various different social media, but they have to sort of remember you need to have those connections
Right.
to have that amplification of your greatness. And if you don't reach out and engage and nurture those relationships, I have people who I've been on LinkedIn since 2009. And so, there are people who are still reaching out to me, and I'm like, yeah, that's really great. But this is the first time you've reached out to me for job search help. And so, those people who have reached out to me and we've engaged in conversations, we've met at conferences, things like that. Those are the people that I'm going to help and support. Someone that I just connected with, and then they flood my LinkedIn with their resume and all the things they want. Sorry, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
So, how may our audience get in touch with you and your team?
So, yeah, speaking of LinkedIn, we're pretty active on there. Give us a follow, check us out. We're always announcing contract wins and we are posting things about fun stuff that we're doing out in the space and any community service that we're doing, things like that. And we also post jobs there typically. So, follow us there. We also have a website, it's plus3it.com. And there is sort of like a submission form if you have, maybe if you're not even seeing any jobs that aren't aligning with what you're looking for, if you submit a submission and be a legit person with a legit clearance if it's appropriate and submit that information and we actually comb through those, we read those things. They're not just siphoned through. We have human beings that check those out and get really excited when you express some interest there. We're out there, and just give us a follow.
Awesome. Well, Allison, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great learning more about Plus3 IT and all the great things you're doing in the community.
Thank you. I really appreciate the invitation. I hope I get to talk to y'all again.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Allison was sharing how they have an internship in the Cleared community, and that's just fabulous. And so if you're looking for an internship, definitely give them a try. How about you, Rachel?
I appreciated two things that Allison shared. First, I appreciated that the organization really ties into truth and transparency in the way that they post their job descriptions. They make sure that they're clearly understood, what the requirements will look like, and then all they're asking, actually all of us are asking of candidates, is to make sure that you're also truthful and transparent in your resume. Make sure when you're listing those different organizations that you've worked with that you're clear, concise, and accurate. Don't put who you coulda, woulda, shoulda worked for, but who you did work for. So it was a great time learning with Allison. What y'all didn't get to see was she had an awesome microphone that changed colors, and so it was incredibly cool. These are the reasons you need to keep listening. We're meeting cool people. They have cool tools. Make sure that you follow us. Get out there, give it a listen, share with a friend, hit that follow button. That was a lot of instructions, but most importantly, thank you for listening. Till next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Non parlo italiano.
Clearly.
Clearly.
But I can order a mean bolognese. Yes, I can.
Yeah, bolognas.
I mean, well, in Louisiana, we call that bologna.